exactly the note from heaven, why this book has to come now. It's much more important than the healing that happens with people. It's just one part of it. So.
And why is that? What is the note from heaven?
Okay. I once, and that's the story is also in the book. And maybe I should show it. This is a book that I just yesterday it was published. And I don't know.
Yes, from Watkins Publishing. Congratulations.
Flowers from the
That's lovely.
And I'm so happy for this. Also this. Front page. I mean, I didn't even ask anything, and the woman, she just made it perfect how it should be. You know, it's rare. What happened, and I also have explained it in the book, is that I was in the conservatory and playing the saxophone, and I went into this music mostly because it's, you know, I could borrow a saxophone when I was in the high school, and I looked so much up to people that were playing music, and I thought I couldn't do it. And then I borrowed one. They needed one to play in 1 week, and I just learned it very fast. And that's why I went to the conservatorium in the end. I could feel it like very easy for me, this music. I had the wind in the back, if you can say so.
Yeah.
And what happening? I was going crazy for it because I didn't work like from the small child. I was a teenager when I started, so I continued really practicing a lot, and for 2 years in the conservatory I got really good. I wasn't good in it, but I was also a very good girl. Too good. So I maybe it started to come up that maybe there's something else in life than just being good in this, and it's like a male thing, you know. I didn't even choose the instrument, you know. It started. So
the instrument is more associated with male musicians, right?
I like the sound, you know. I like the sound, but you know, maybe actually I always dreamt about singing, but I thought my voice was like, you know, I didn't have this beautiful voice that people sometimes are born with, you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the courage. Courage? I didn't dare.
Courage. Yes. You didn't dare. Yeah.
So when my girlfriend said she was not in the conservatory, but she was going to India, she said, I would prefer South America if I had to go, but I didn't have any money. So she said, oh no, she was going to India to learn Shenai, to play that. I said, okay, I can ask in the conservatory for money, you know, maybe they will, you know, give me some money for studying something. I will just study singing, you know, it's most easy. So we can get out to travel for 1 or 2 months. And I did it, and I thought I will not get it, because why should they give me money to go to India to study? I didn't even know anything about Indian music. So we went there. I mean, I asked for money just fast. I was writing it, and didn't think I got it. And then I got a very high degree in this examination, and I got a lot of money, 30,000 crowns, that's me. It was much money then. And then my girlfriend was pregnant, and she didn't have, so I had to go alone then. So what happened was that I went there. A lot of things happened. I could write a full novel about that. But I came to find my teacher, Mangala Tiwari, which I didn't know when I left. But somebody told us, oh, she could be a teacher when I went to Varanasi in India. And Mangala was the perfect teacher for me. She was a free soul. I liked her very much.
And how long ago was this? Was this 20 years ago?
No, yeah, it's more. It's almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I was 25, now I'm 54. So, and that all started because Mangala told me to sing you go home and you sing one note, at least 1 hour a day. And I came with my soprano saxophone. I told him, but please, Mangala, the soprano saxophone, listen to me, how fast I can play. And she was not interested in sing. So I went home and I got this camphora with me, this one. And then she told me, you sit and you play this. And I also had to learn that. It's quite simple. It's just the same all the time. The tuning is what is hard. And then I had to sing with this one, and you have the ground note A, she said, the same as me. So okay, this is another thing.
The same as me? Explain that. The same.
Yeah, but that's Mangala, Indian way.
Ah,
Say, okay, you have the same one as I have. It was most practical like that. But actually, each person has a ground note. It means,
and is it one of the 8 or one of the 7 pentatonic notes, or?
yeah, but I mean, for me, when I do sound healing or do the sound note from heaven, there is no steps. There are no steps. It's like all vibration can slide. It's
I
like
see.
slide.
It's not chromatic.
No, yes, chromatic. It's chromatic, but it's kind of chromatic steps when you talk about. But when we like in the Indian singing, you always slide almost always.
Mm.
This is chromatic, but you hit the note, but you all the time slide. And when you do this, you're like giving a massage, also to the body, because if we are sound, then if you jump, you will also jump in the body. So the frequencies in the body, you will hit them all when you slide. And that's part of it also. I mean, what I found out is not exactly Indian, but I was inspired from what she told me. She didn't think about the note from heaven when she said it. But what happened was that I went home and I was quite nervous about this, that somebody could hear me. And I sat and I started to do like this, and I sing, and I get like nerves, and it sounded not so well. I thought, oh my God. But I continued, do what she's saying to me. And then all of a sudden, I can try to come to it now, even I didn't sing. It's like, I don't know if it can catch the mic, but
Yeah, I get it. I feel it.
some kind of other notes started to come, like it.
Overtones. Yeah,
I thought it's not me that's singing this, because it sounded like a few people sang in the street.
yeah.
So nobody was there. I even went outside to check. Nobody was there. So I found out myself. And then I found out when you continue singing a long time in one note, then the controlling center of the brain will get too bored. Sometime the ego will start saying, okay, I don't have to take care of that.
Sure.
And when it starts controlling, then your voice starts to come out. So it's actually this to bore the ego. That's roughly said.
To borrow the ego.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
You harness it.
Yes. So that and also to make the ego so flexible that it will understand. It will have a success experience that it can see. Oh, she can do without me. It's actually I can gain more by staying on the side for a while. It doesn't mean that I'm not allowed.
Your true self is on the side, or the ego is on the side?
What is the ego? I mean, what do you call it? Truth?
True self?
The true self. Yeah, I mean, actually, this is a matter of training yourself to being good enough to be nothing.
I see.
And it doesn't mean that you're not having your ego. You're a person with problems and all the things that life needs, But you train yourself to you can find a space where you can have a free time, where you can reload yourself. And if you have a problem in your normal life, we'll just go into that room, and then we can see what will happen. We can ask for help there, and we can repair ourselves. Because the real life is necessary, like the dualistic world, and the other thing is a matter of opening the door that we can walk in there and walk out again. And for me, it's been, I can't express my gratitude for that. And also when you can pass it on for others, it's such a honor to do that.
So it sounds almost like this is a form of meditation for you.
Yes.
It has that kind of place in your life that meditators have, that meditation has in the life of meditators. Yeah.
Yes, actually, also that's what I had tried meditation. Some people in the conservatorium had told me, yeah, you can, will you come to meditate? I thought, okay, meditate, should we use our time sitting doing nothing? I'm a very busy person.
Right, right.
I enjoy it. And then, I've always been able to, and then I see pictures and all this, I say, okay, but what should I use it for, I've been brought up very atheistic. So all what happened with the note from heaven it changed everything in my life. Because the note from heaven is true. It's a mirror and you get it straight in your face. And it's not a hard mirror. It's just a mirror that you can feel who you are. And for example, if I would sit and sing the note, just sing one note, I can hear my condition. I can hear the condition of my breath. So the way I just took my breath is expressed in the voice. So if I would just sing up in the throat and breathe just in the breast, as many stressed people are doing, it cannot be strength. But that's why the key for the note from heaven is to come to breathe. Now I'm trying to show my stomach here, to breathe down in the stomach and get the full breath back. And then to sing the sound of the stomach, actually, we have to listen to the feelings in our stomach, because we are right. They are always right, because if you sense something, it's correct. And more people have lost this ability to listen for themselves. And this is what this is about, actually. Because, okay, we sing and do this, we listen to our breath, we listen to the one we are. And when you start to listen to the one we are, we also start to listen to the part of us that is spiritual. What happened to me was also a new thing, that synchronicity started to happen in my life. I started to meet the persons that I should meet. And I didn't know how I could recognize them. But it happened just. And, I get so excited, I'm almost shivering from it, because, you just see, you're not doubting that this is true when it happens, It's too many coincidences, it cannot be. It's like a flow you're riding on. So, and I just experienced it when I was in Birmingham, Cheltenham, to make workshops now. Again, it happened. So I feel it's like we're in a wavering kind of a world, it's full of frequencies. But if we don't believe in that we are okay as we are, if we don't listen to who we are, our frequencies will not flow with what's happening, and we will not see all the possibilities that we have.
I'm interested in two things, following up with you on 2 points. One is that the note from heaven gives us access to what our bellies are trying to tell us, and that we can't normally access through our conscious minds. And the other question is, break down for me the practical routine of doing a note from heaven session with yourself.
Yes.
Do I need an instrument like that? How long is it? How do you sort of manage your breath if you're not a trained singer?
Yes.
How do you overcome that self-consciousness, like that you experience wanting to do it at 4 a.m? So there's 2 questions there.
So the first thing with the stomach thingy, I don't know if we have this saying in Denmark that you have a stomach feeling. How do you say it in English? You have also
gut feeling.
Gut feeling. That's the gut feeling.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I think that we are so much now listening to things from outside. We're going out. The television tell us this, and people do like this. I have to do like that. Instead of just listening to our own guts. Before, we were much more with ourselves, I believe. It's also good things coming in, but we have to be conscious about it, because to balance it. Some people say to me, oh, I work also about detoxing, because I believe that if something is wrong, you have to find out what is wrong yourself. Some people say, yeah, but you should trust that the angels or spirits or heaven will do everything for you. No, because 50-50. We have to balance the things, because the angels or the spirits, or what you will call it, the upper internet or whatever it is, they have the overview of things, and they can help you to to get the real inspiration for what you have to do. But you are the hands of the angels, so you have to do it. You cannot just sit and
Sure.
and that's a big mistake, I find. That some people, they think, oh, and we don't have to help anybody because there will be help from the spirits, or we don't have to be active, and don't worry if something is bad. There's a reason for it, and of course, but we have to be there. We have to act on our guts. So that was it. Another thing is the practical part, how you're doing this. The simple thing is that I'll just go a little bit back in the stomach here. It's here. It's again down here. My experience is that the subconscious part of us is here in the guts, and that's also the subconscious that speak to us, because it's connected to the reptilian brain, actually, autonomous nervous system. And this is we can't handle that one. It's an animal inside us. It's a small animal that we were in the beginning.
That's a great image.
That's why we're connected to animals, I think, because we have actually kind of inside us. We are connected to all in the world, also the animals. So when the species now die around, I don't know how to say it, but they are extinction. Yes, we're actually extinction part of ourselves, because we are connected with everything, the oneness level, and down here, this animal is speaking, and we get actually worried, but we just quitted the thought about it, we go on because all the greed, all the fear is it's making the ego go to take care of us, but then we cannot feel ourselves because you
and I think we do a lot to try to numb that.
Yes,
that's drinking alcohol and
yes.
candy and all the bad things we do to ourselves.
Yeah, and you disconnect yourself to the stomach, because that is the reptilian brain's way when it's really afraid. The more scared it will be, the more it will disconnect itself here, because then it can use all the power to fight, actually. And that, I think, also causes all the stress that is going on. It's actually the animal that is afraid. And we can't even do anything about it, because we don't realize that it's an animal inside us.
It's beautiful.
It had enough. It's had enough of all that. And we just continue. Even it's screaming. But we treat ourselves the way we treat the pigs, in Denmark especially. We're not good with them. And we treat us like the chicken and all this, So when we can start to love the animals, we will start to love ourselves also, I think. So that's a part of this with the stomach. And when we start to breathe in the stomach, we start to get into the unconscious feelings of ourselves. And some people, when I start to work with them in workshops and my education, then when they really get into it, things will come up. And people get really surprised because, they don't believe it when you say it. But it's really laying down there. It's like you're going down to the ground, and all kind of things laying like fertilizer to wait to be used. And when you hit it, then the energy is getting free. But the feelings, emotions will also come up. But it's not dangerous to work with this, because you cannot release more than your voice can, than you can handle. Because, you can speak yourself into things that you can't handle, but the voice, the breathing can't get deeper than your body will allow it to go.
Interesting. So it's a very safe practice.
I've never found anybody getting into any trouble psychologically. Physically, yes, and that's why I'm working on it now. Detoxing process can start, because when you loosen up tensions, in these tensions in the muscles where the emotions also have been, then there's a lot of, that's where they like to be, all the toxins. So what I'm working on now is how can people in a very simple way support this detoxification if it happens.
Because detoxing can be dangerous. I myself have.
I also have been there.
Suffered, yeah.
But the toxins, this is true. So that's why I mean, it's very rare that people really get a heavy one. But if they sing themselves free, and that's what the second part of this book is about. If you just sing Note from Heaven, it's like, you can also call it that you're going down deep in the sea, and it will take layer by layer, but it will do slowly. But if you will say, okay, I have a trauma, I like to release that. If you permit the spirit to go into it by that we're telling me we will work with this and we will ask for this to be released, then it can be a heavy thing coming out.
Sure.
It's very effectful, because it's like embracing the, what you call it, in the fairy tale, the bad one. What is it called?
Describe it a little bit more.
There are H.C. Anderson makes a lot of fairy tales also with the bad one in the fairy tale.
Yes, the big bad wolf.
Yeah, yes, or whatever you're afraid of, if you embrace it and just going into it. Lars is also talking about it in his book, The Seer.
Yeah, that's right. Of course.
It has to run through him, and the biggest fear, if you embrace it, you're really taking a big step. And if it's, for example, I had one in my education that she was a famous opera singer actually. But we talked about abuse, we had it like an example, because many people are abused much more than we think. And then, she was German, and she is German, and she's not type that you will go and hug, because she's like a little bit reserved, and that's okay. You can be like this. You shouldn't hug everybody. But then what happened was that all of a sudden she was triggered, It was somebody else that was singing herself free of her trauma. And that's again that when we can go into the tensions of the body. And with a Note from Heaven, I didn't show you yet, I'm not nice. But with a Note from Heaven, when you get the contact to your sound and to this way of expressing yourself truly, then you can go into attention, and that's what she did. She sang herself into it, and when the cry come up, some cry could come, you sing on the cry. We think, wow, you're so nice you're crying, because then the cry is, ooh, ooh, ooh. You'll find the right note, because it will be full of overtones. The cry notes are very good. So she sang herself into something very serious, and we don't even need to know what it's about. But I know now, because I've been through with so many, I can hear.
Yeah, when it's coming, those things are coming up.
And I also this is another thing what's happening when you start to work with a Note from Heaven and you start to listen really to yourself. Because the listening, it's not only listening for the voice that develops, even you listen just for the voice. You develop yourself in all levels. So when you develop your hearing, then you also develop your intuition. And you start to get, some people feel, somebody see, your senses are tuned. So you get retuned actually to yourself. And it's not about, I'm not very special, everybody has this possibility. I mean, I'm special because I did it for 30 years, I can say that, and I'm good in it,
Yes.
I know that. But I just say that even people that are tone deaf, they can have such a power hidden in them. So, but this woman, she did that, for example. It's just an example of it. And she didn't tell me because she was so scared of it. She got so terribly sick after. Terribly sick. It was all the holidays, summer holidays, so we didn't see each other for a long time. And she was so scared she wanted to go to the doctors, and doctors wanted to operate her and all kinds of things because it was terrible. But she got through it. And when we met again, she was a totally different person. She was warm and hugging and all this. And she said, "What is it?"
Oh my gosh! Wow.
This kind of things can happen, but when it happens, such a big step, the body will also have such a toxin detox,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then I want to prepare people because I don't want people to suffer. So I'm now testing all the ways. How can we do it the easiest way? So I want to write in the next book. I already have my next book, but I want to make an extra chapter about that.
So tell me about the process of doing this. What does a session with myself look like?
So first of all, is to be able to breathe from the stomach. And I have some different exercises how to breathe, because number one is that you can get your stomach to be big when you breathe in. It should get out, and when you exhale, it should get inside, and you're doing it actively. Actually, it's like belly dancing. You could feel like, but to move the stomach out, and for some people, they made many kids already when they start to school, they have the opposite breath today. And it's because they lose the contact with a very important part of themselves. So, just to make the breath correct, we have different exercises how to do it. And, you can do it the mind way that you explained, like this, and some people like it the way of feelings, because they can't do it when you tell them, by that way. So then you can also think about something very nice you like, and and then press it inside the stomach like that, because to express it, the nice smell of a rose, for example. The stomach will do it automatically. If it likes something, you will breathe correctly, because then it feels safe, the body, and then you will have the real breath. The animal is not afraid then, so you can just do it. So what we're doing then, now we say that the breath is okay. So it has to be pressed inside the stomach, that you like all the time, keeping connected to your grounding, actually, like this. That's why it's a safe method, because you can't express a note from heaven without grounding. So let's see. And when you do this, the breath will be longer and longer. You will have much longer breath than normal. And that's also why you detox, because that's what the doctors say, that on the exhale, detoxification happens. So when you make it longer, more.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. So this is why I like this so much, because it can be explained scientifically, but also spiritually. So we have all the packets there. So, and what's happening? You can also make a very loud one, because it's easier. Shall I try to do so? Take care of your ears. Is it okay?
Go, yeah.
Because when you do that, it's like the balloon. If you fill a balloon with air and you want to make it a long sound, you make the sound, the hole smaller. And now I'll do it. And then you do it like being in more Nassau here. It's not the center of the circle. It's here, and the power is from the sacral center. What do you call it? Hara.
Chakras, yeah.
Yes, sir. From the stomach center. can continue like that, you know. Long breath. Huh?
Yeah.
And this power, when people experience that they have it, everybody has it. Just a matter of getting it the right way. People get really somehow high because they say, oh, I have this power. And it doesn't mean that you need to use it all the time, but the fact that you know you have it makes you feel safe. You know?
Yeah.
And when you start to practice to be there and to get it, then you are able to shout. And you can shout and you can say, I don't want that. You can put your limits. I couldn't do that before myself. I was such a, you know, I was crying every time, you know, oh, I get sad, you know. And people, oh, now she's crying again, you know. I couldn't put a limit. Everything was just, and I was the victim, you know.
This was before you started doing this practice.
All of a sudden, I found myself shouting at people and said, what? Oh, what happened, you know? I should not shout, you know. But I had just to fix it, you know, that I have know how to use my power. But it started then to work, the power. And that's maybe why the politicians wouldn't like it so much that people do this. But it's about taking back your power and you know, we can do something about the situation. We just have to first be aligned with who we are. Then it will happen by itself.
Fantastic.
You start to feel for an animal, you start to feel for the trees, you start to see that we are all one. So, I mean, we're coming back to the Indians, I know that, but so, and another thing is also what is good for performance anxiety, because I know that from Lars. That's how we met, because I was teaching him it also. I'm teaching him it. He was in a workshop also with it, and even you're a very trained singer and all this, many people, they don't feel completely themselves when they're on stage. Also me, I've also had this anxiety thing. I think all performers have it a little bit, you know. So what I found out that if you're not there, you know, if you step aside, the ego can step aside and say, okay, it's not me. I mean, it's the voice of my stomach, for example, or it's the voice of the spirit. I mean, something else will sing it through you. I'm doing this in order to serve, because that's the purpose of our being here, to serve.
Yes.
So if you do this, then there's no problem, because you're not there.
Right.
It's actually the ego that get afraid. If it's not there, it's not afraid. So it's very simple. So when Lars and me sing together, we're not afraid, because when we sing together, even we sing songs and do things that is kind of performance thing, then it's not him, it's not me. Our voices will melt together, so it's a third thing. So yeah. So it's
Beautiful.
yes, yeah. So that's also what the Note from Heaven. It's been such a journey, because that when you sing yourself and you sing, you know, for a long time. I mean, in the same time, it should be disciplined. In the same time, you have to listen to yourself, because you feel, no, I don't want to do it anymore today. Fine, you know, you shouldn't. Of course, you should not say, oh, I prefer to sit and eat ice cream. You know, it's a balance. You know, you have to start yourself. Now I sing. And I do it for 10 minutes, and we see how I feel with it. But if you will feel bad after 20 minutes, stop, you know.
So anything else that you want to add, Gita?
Yes, the thing is that when you, I mean, this sing yourself free, what it's also about, or regressive self-singing, and what I call it, is like you can use the Note from Heaven like a torch or a light, you know. It is when you start to sing with this honesty, where you just you disappear into the sound. It's like the sounds take you. It's like you're just gone into it. If you do that and you go into the feelings and just embrace them like that, then if somebody would get into crying and you know, if somebody will watch it in a group, they will feel very sorry for that person, but they don't have to. It's really great. It's also great to cry and say,
It's
"Oh,
freeing.
yeah."
Yeah. Yeah.
So you shouldn't feel sorry for them. No, the problem is actually this sorry is actually the sorry for yourself, because they get a longing also to do it, actually, often like that. And what could happen that was really some people will start to cry when the other one's doing it, is because this note that's coming out is resonating with them. And this I call a resonance with domino effect. Because in a group, it can be this one, oh, then she's hit in the trauma simply. Because the note frequency, the cell, is hurt. It feels, wow, they're hearing me, And that's actually what you're doing with the notes, that you're going in and listening to the trauma. Many people we know we have traumas, we just don't know how to deal with it. But it just wants to be heard. It wants to be embraced like a baby. So when we do it with a sound, we'll find exactly the frequency that it like. Where is it laying? Which frequency is it inside? And then we can communicate with it on an unconscious level. You understand?
Yes.
And this is, again, I think it's fantastic, because people don't have to tell all what happened and all this and go into the details. My mother did that, my father did that. No, we can just take the feeling and embrace it, and you see everything is, we empty the cardboard box,
Yes.
It has happened, and we have a skeleton after, but it's not really it doesn't matter so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Gita.
Very much.
It was lovely. All right. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Good Easter.
Oh, yes, you too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.